Let's get it. Welcome back to another edition of the Hampton Show. Joel, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great. NBA Cup action last night. It's a lot of good basketball going around, and today I'm looking forward to grading every team and how that season's going so far.
Same here. We're doing exactly what you said. We're grading every NBA team season after 1 month. And I was at an NBA game last Saturday night. I was doing a SMU college football tour with them in Dallas. But that night, my Memphis Grizzlies were playing the Dallas Mavericks. And that night, a lot of drama went down. So later in the podcast, we're going to discuss all that, what I saw and what happened. But first, we're going to grade the Atlanta Hawks season after 1 month. What grade do you give the Hawks, Joel?
I give them an A. I think that they have really galvanized after Trae Young's injury. Jalen Johnson has taken another step forward. Onyeka looks awesome. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker looks like one of the best free agent signings of the offseason. I know they recently lost to the Wizards. It's just an off game, but for the most part, they have been winning. They have been staying in the playoff mix. And contrary to maybe popular belief now, I do think that when Trae Young comes back, they have another level they can reach.
Yeah, they do have another level they can reach, but I think if they can't reach it, it's going to have to be some real soul searching on who they build around going into the next year. I'm going to give them a B for all the reasons that you said. It's been encouraging without Trae Young. All the pieces have meshed pretty well, but you know, it's very similar to the Ja Morant situation. Trae right now is an infinitely better player than Ja has showed this season. I'm not arguing that. However, is he the future? It's similar to LaMelo Ball in Charlotte. That's something they have to figure out. But let's move to the Boston Celtics. What grade do you give them thus far?
I give them a C. They're what I expected them to be. Yeah. I didn't expect Jaylen Brown to be this good. From the mid-range, he's been automatic. He hasn't missed from the mid-range at all.
Why didn't you expect Jaylen Brown to be this good?
Because I didn't expect him to shoot over 50% on his mid-range shots.
That's fair.
That's what I didn't expect. But they get a C because they still don't have a center. Their wing rotation is a bit wonky. Jordan Walsh is not playing, which I'm a fan of his game. He's a defensive first player. Mm-hmm. Derek White has been like the most underwhelming player in the league this year. Some people thought that he could maybe take the next step with more opportunity, and he just hasn't shown that. And I think Anthony Simons has also been a disappointment. Anthony Simons has been one of those players that's okay. That's why.
Expect anything though?
I think that he could have been in the running for sixth man of the year.
My thing is there was never enough depth on that team for him ever to be a sixth man ever.
What do you mean not enough depth? Because he's the sixth man.
I know he is the sixth man, but it's not like he's going to come in and flip a game because of the players around him. Six mans are always on good teams, and the Boston Celtics are simply not a good team. They're not good enough for him to win an award like that, like Naz Reid with Minnesota. Like, that was a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
A no doubt playoff team. The Boston Celtics were never that.
I agree with you, but on the Blazers, he was averaging 20 a night.
That's fair.
And with the Celtics, it just has been clear as to why the Blazers moved on from him. Is because he doesn't really provide much of anything. He's very inconsistent. And I think that he should be better given that he's coming into the game playing against backups, and he's still not producing at a very high level. So I give them a C.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Derek White thing, I'm not going to overreact to how bad he has been. I'm not going to sit here and act like he hasn't been bad, but maybe that's just what he is. He's at his best as a fourth or fifth option on a team, not a second or a third. It reminds me of Mikal Bridges that you can only go so far with him as a first option. You saw that with Brooklyn, but Derek White feels like he's more out of his role than just forgetting how to play basketball or becoming a bad basketball player. Another team in the East, the Brooklyn Nets, we're not going to spend much time here. It's an F. None of the 5 first rounders have really made me feel any sense of encouragement about their future, and that's as simple as that.
Yeah, Igor Demon hasn't been terrible. The number one thing he needs to work on is his handle, but the jump shot looks fluid. I think he's shown encouraging signs with that. The Nets get an F. Yeah, they haven't been that good. They've been one of the worst teams in basketball, but Michael Porter Jr., he looks good. He looks great.
Let's calm down with the MPJ talk. I think Cam Johnson's starting to find his rhythm for the Denver Nuggets. It's conversation.
What's that, 11 points?
Well, I mean, Jonas Valanciunas played extended stretches against the Grizzlies on Tuesday night, and it was almost sent you a couple clips of it. Like, oh my
Former
God.
team tax.
Let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets. Only reason it's not an F here is Con Knipple. I'm going to give him a D because of what he has showed. He looks like a guy they might be able to build around. I was on TikTok the other the other day watching a Frank Michael Smith video, and he was breaking down his stats and what he has been per 36. And even in the month of November, he's been phenomenal. Con Knipple has been a huge bright spot, but still no answers with LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. So for that reason, it's a D, and it hasn't converted to winning.
I'm looking at this based on if I was a fan, how would I feel about the team? I'd go with the B. And I think it's because of Concanipple. I think Concanipple is carrying it to extraordinary amounts. I can't discount Ryan Kalkbrenner. He has been a solid centerpiece, a player they got in the second round. But Concanipple gives you optimism that even if they move on from LaMelo, they might be fine. Concanipple could maybe take the reins and he could be their best player. So I think that aspect, having something to look forward to when you watch their games, knowing that Concanipple is going to play well, he's going to step up, that's why I'd give them a B.
Another team I'm going to give a B is the Chicago Bulls. 5-0 start doesn't look like it meant a whole lot, especially at this point. I feel like as far as Nikola Vucevic's trade value, there's not many options left to improve this team. They have, in return for DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Alex Caruso, they never received a draft pick. They never received capital for it. So how can you improve on this team? And that is why it's not only a B, I'm going to put it at a B minus.
I think they've been a B. Vucevic is needed in Chicago for the simple reason that he's a veteran presence, and his post-game interview said a lot about the maturity of the team when they were excited to barely beat the Wizards, and Vucevic just annoyed and he was angry because they played terribly. And he said that it's not sustainable the way that they're playing. And he's right, because they started out the season great, but now they've kind of tailed off a little bit. And if they keep playing how they played against the Wizards, they're going to be a sub 500 team. And they probably came into the year and because of their hot start had better expectations for that. So I think he's needed in the locker room. I don't think that he has any trade value around the league either. So I think that helps Chicago, I guess, keep him in the building. But Kobe White getting healthier gives me optimism that the Bulls are going to be a playing team. They're going to be a frisky team. You have to prepare for them every night because they're going to try to tire you out. And Josh Giddey has looked like an all-star. Matas Buzelis has looked much better too. So this is a B. I could even be talking to like a B+.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's just, it's a bleak future for them. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a B+ for me. Yes, you can point to the record, the fact that they're not top 3 in the Eastern Conference, but the injuries they have had to withstand, I think, says a lot about who they are as a group. They're not putting as much emphasis on the regular season, which I like, but they're also surviving without some of their best players.
This is a C for me. They haven't looked good this year. It's been mostly due to injuries. I watched their games and I talk to myself internally and say, who the hell is this guy that's playing in it? Like against the Raptors, they didn't have Hunter, Garland, Max Strus, or Jared Allen. They have a lot of injuries. But this is a C because, one, you can't really rely on them to stay healthy, especially Garland. He has an injury history. And then B, Evan Mobley has not looked like he's improved offensively.
That's fair. Would you still take Darius Garland over Ja Morant?
Yes.
I just wanted to make you say it.
I'd take, what's the spiciest name I could take over Ja Morant?
One question. We don't need to take it any farther than that. We can just stick to the Garland over Ja.
There's a player that I said not too long ago that I'd take over Ja Morant on my podcast, and it's a spicy name. I forgot who it is, though.
Yeah, it must have been spicy enough for you to forget it about. The reason I brought up Ja Morant there is because the Dallas Mavericks are next. Simple. Their season has been an F. I was in Dallas last weekend watching them play the Grizzlies, and I have a lot to say about what happened between Klay Thompson and Ja Morant, because Klay Thompson, at the only point in his career now, was praised on the internet for his how dare you, holier than thou speech about Ja Morant. And I'm not going to sit here and argue that anything he said was false. It's not false. The story of Ja's career is he has been in street clothes. He has been on the bench. He has been unreliable. He hasn't taken accountability. I'm not arguing with any of those points at all, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Ja just randomly pointed at Klay after the game. I was there. Clay was barking at the bench the entire game, and that is what ultimately led to this moment. Not to mention the years and years and years and years of history that Klay Thompson has with the Memphis Grizzlies. Dallas Mavericks fans had the audacity to get involved with this on Twitter. None of this had anything to do with Dallas. This had everything to do with Klay Thompson and the Grizzlies. The Mavericks had nothing to do with any of this, and that's what pissed me off so much about the moment. It was taken out of context when Klay was the one who was instigating it all game long. And Ja, eventually, what I saw was encouragement. Yes, it might have been delusion to point at a 4-time champion who has achieved infinitely more than you, but I saw a proof of life from Ja Morant that I haven't seen all season. Ja was walking out of their arena 3 weeks ago in FedEx Forum after all the trade rumors were happening, and a fan yelled at him, "Grow up and be a leader." Jock Landale heard it, went back, cussed out the fan. Ja looked like a scared child that was completely checked out, just like he has the rest of the season. Ja has not been involved with his teammates on the bench, at least the first 3 weeks of the season. He has not cared about the results of the game. He has not cared about the criticism that was bestowed upon him by Blake Griffin and the rest of the entire internet. And that night, he actually looked bought in. He actually looked like he wanted to be there and had some smoke with somebody. And that delusion that he has is a little bit of what made him great. I'm not going to come back and sit here and act like he's going to average 25 to 30 points a game. But when Dillon Brooks, Steven Adams, and Desmond Bane were with the Memphis Grizzlies, they had something they don't have right now, and that's an identity. And that identity did not lead to wins. I'm not blaming, the loss of the identity on Dillon Brooks alone, because that only equated to one playoff series win, but it did bring in something that they don't have anymore. I have no idea as a Grizzlies fan what to expect from this team every night. Whenever Dillon Brooks, Desmond Bane, and Steven Adams were there, I knew what to expect every night. And Ja Morant getting chippy with a former rival is something that I was encouraged by and not discouraged by.
That's a nice positive way to spin it. Too bad that Ja Morant's barking and passion was while he was in street clothes on the bench and not playing in the game. Maybe I wish I could have seen that passion translate to the court, because after a day passes by, he's not in the heat of the moment. That could go. Next time he's on the court, he could be complaining like he usually does. Listen, I don't think that there's any rules for trash talking. I think trash talking is trash talking. It is what it is. That doesn't mean we can't judge you for the trash talking or who won the trash talk battle, because I think that it was quite clear that Klay Thompson got the better of Ja in the moment.
Did he?
He said things post game as well that rang true. There's more things that Klay can say about Ja than Ja can say about Klay. And I think the most telling stat about it all is that since Klay Thompson tore his ACL, ruptured his Achilles,
Here we go.
he has played in more games than Ja Morant. I think that's the most telling thing of all. The fact that Klay Thompson, after 2 career-ending injuries, has played in more basketball games than Ja Morant.
It's so funny to watch Klay go from this kind of corny villain on Twitter whenever he's counting rings to people after he has fell off and now been washed. Everyone wants to talk about what Klay Thompson said about Ja Morant not being false. And you're right. What he said about Ja, like I said before, is very true. That has been the story of his career. But let's not act like what Ja said about Klay wasn't true either. He is a bum now.
He is washed. He's washed.
And the reason that it escalated to that point is because Klay took a half-court horrible shot that completely lost the game for the Dallas Mavericks against a team that was without Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. and had just lost 5 in a row 2 games before that. Klay Thompson is a bum, and what Ja said about him is true, and what Klay said about Ja is true. I think we can both agree on that. But as far as him, being this grandstand guy who doesn't instigate this and who is not insecure and doesn't remind people every chance he gets that he is a 4-time champion. I saw a graphic on Twitter that literally was comparing Ja's accomplishments to Klay's accomplishments. And I just kind of laughed to myself. I'm like, he's already reminded Memphis and the entire NBA that this is his resume. I don't need a graphic telling me this. He's counted his rings on the bench more than Ja Morant has ever thought about winning a playoff series. That is the insecurity level we're talking about with Klay Thompson. Both of them were delusional in this moment. It was not just Ja Morant. It was not just Klay Thompson.
No, it wasn't just Ja. Ja wasn't even delusional. I mean, what he said was pretty spot on. But
there we go.
He's not gonna win a battle against a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's not. Okay, I'm just saying. It also was taken out of context, and what led to that moment was the entire game. Let's get into the Denver Nuggets, another Western Conference team. I put an A- for them. Jokic somehow finding a way to be even better than he's been has been awesome. We covered this last week. Jonas Valanciunas has been huge for them. The offseason additions have been huge for them. He looks fresher on a night-to-night basis despite playing pretty much the same minutes. He's getting longer stretches on the bench, and I think that is huge for regular season, this regular season version of the Denver Nuggets.
It's an A+. They have an elite offense, an elite defense. Jokic is playing like the best player in the world. He might win MVP again, and the depth is there. I think the only thing that's going wrong for them is Cam Johnson has been on a slump, and he hasn't been his best, but I think he'll get out of it.
You can't give them an A+ and then bitch about Cam Johnson to push your MPJ false narrative, whatever that you want to push. They're a better team than they were last year, yes or no?
They are.
Okay, so they won the MPJ trade.
No.
Yes, they did. They saved money and became a better team. How did they not win that trade?
I think they could have had this record with MPJ.
Okay, then how are they a better team? If they could have had the exact same record, you just said, yes, they're a better team. How would have they have had the exact same record?
They have a better team because now they can go deeper into their bench. We also can't ignore the contributions that somebody like Payne Watson has made, who's taken a step in his game as well. So MPJ, the trade itself.
Maybe that's because MPJ's out of the way, Joel. Maybe that has something to do with it.
No, what the hell? It has nothing to do with it. The Brooklyn Nets, you think that they're looking at this trade saying, damn, we lost. We got a 26 point per game score.
Because they're losing every night, and they're paying infinitely more for MPJ than they're paying for Cam Johnson. I get the Brooklyn Nets.
They got the better player, and
everyone wants to talk about the salary cap, but you have to hit a salary floor, and that's pretty much why the Nets did this. But they're not sitting here damn, bro, we won this shit. MPJ.
Hell yeah, they should sit there and say
MPJ's
that.
MPJ's going to lead
9
us to
points.
something. MPJ's going to lead us to something. This is like the off-brand Brooklyn Nets with Mikal Bridges. It's the off-brand version of that. That's what this is.
Dude, didn't the Nets get MPJ in first rounders?
Denver Nuggets won that trade.
So they got the better player and they got first-round picks. And they won.
Denver became a better team and saved money. How is that not a win?
Brooklyn would be worse with Cam Johnson in MPJ spot right now.
Okay.
It's hard to. They're a 2-win team.
But this isn't just a Cam Johnson for MPJ thing. Yes, you can throw the draft capital in there, but what this allowed them to do was have Cam Johnson, get Jonas Valanciunas, bring back Bruce Brown. It was a multifaceted deal.
Listen, I'm not saying the Nuggets lost this trade. I'm just saying that.
Then what are you saying?
MPJ is the better player in the deal. And Denver, I think it's true.
Denver wanted to return to the NBA Finals.
This is how a trade usually is, right? Both teams that are trading, they want to both win their side of the deal. The Nuggets won their side, and the Nets clearly won their side.
What have the Brooklyn Nets won?
They got the better player, and they got first-round picks.
For double the money. And it's, if you want to argue better player than Cam Johnson, we're talking about
clearly
slightly better for double the money.
It's not slightly. He's clearly
slightly better for double the money.
No, he's clearly better. He's not even close.
He can't even be used as a trade piece. Okay,
why
if
would
he was making Cam
him?
Johnson money, everybody would be calling.
I wouldn't want to trade 26 and 8 a
night.
I wouldn't want to trade MPJ.
MPJ is reliable. He is a good player, but because of the contract, nobody wants him. And the Brooklyn Nets took him on and gave away a pretty good piece in Cam Johnson that everybody had been calling about for the last 3 years.
Why are we talking about MPJ like he has a 6-year deal? he has 2 years left on his contract.
I know, and that 2-year window for the Nuggets just reopened because they moved off of him. That's why they won this trade.
They needed more depth. That it's fine. They won it for their side, but the Nets got the better player and they got draft assets. Imagine,
but they didn't win it for their side.
Yes,
They've won
did.
3 games.
Doesn't matter. They won the trade. They would have won 3 games with Cam Johnson.
What is Denver's pick gonna get them, bro? What they just
another
they just
player?
went 0 for 5. That happened. They have went 0 for 5. What are they gonna do with Denver's 28th pick?
I'm not talking about the picks that they made that haven't panned out as of yet. I'm just saying that's the asset that they have. If you are a GM, you'd rather take on the better player in first round picks if you're giving away the worst player. They gave away a worse player. They got the better player.
This ain't the NFL. Like a 28th overall pick is not great in an NBA draft. That is not happening.
Sean Marks drafted Jared Allen with that pick.
What'd you say?
Sean Marks drafted Jared Allen with that pick. He drafted Nick Claxton with
that led to success, didn't it? Yep, all that.
Yeah, they made the playoffs with Jared Allen.
Is Sean Marks still there, by the way?
Yes, he is.
How does he still have his job?
Nick Claxton was a late first. Karis LeVert was a late first.
Joel, you live in New York City. And is it more common to run into an Orlando Magic fan in that city or a Brooklyn Nets fan? Be honest.
I live in New Jersey, but no, it's more common to run into a Nets fan.
How many have you ran into in the past 12 months?
I have a lot of friends that are Nets fans, actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have a couple. I probably have like 5 to 10
You should get them to go to games, because when I watch them on League Pass, it is whatever team they are playing.
Yeah, it was dead like that in New Jersey too. So
I know, but it's not dead for New York Liberty games. It's not the arena.
No, but how does this turn into their fans though? We're talking about the trade. MPJ is a better player. Do you think MPJ is a better player than Cam Johnson?
He's a slightly better player for double the money.
Okay, he's a slightly better player, and they got first round picks, and they lost the deal. So are you telling me the Nets lost this deal?
Yes, I would not have did it if I'm Brooklyn Nets. You could have gotten more than Michael Porter Jr. and being attached to that money for the next 2 years.
Who else are you going to get for Cam Johnson?
Who
do you think Cam Johnson is?
4 first-round picks from a struggling Grizzlies team?
MPJ is worth 2 first-round picks minimum.
People were calling
he's awesome.
The Nets for more than 2 first-round picks.
I don't know that exactly, but I know that Michael Porter Jr. clears Cam Johnson as a player. And they got the first round picks.
There's not that big of a difference except
it was a good
for the
trade
contract. This is not tagging on MPJ.
And
MPJ is actually underrated. The amount of games he plays 78 games a year.
Yes, he's
a great player, but his contract is the problem. It's the same way I feel about De'Aaron Fox.
Why do we act
the exact same way?
Dude, what do you mean? He's getting paid $39 million this year and $40 million next year. And then his contract is done.
Yeah, the Nets have to hit a salary floor. That's why they did it. I get it. But I'm not
it's not a bad contract.
Like they won the trade.
MPJ is definitely worth $15 million more than Cam Johnson.
He's definitely not.
Clearly,
he's definitely not.
Clearly,
he's
the
definitely
Nuggets
not.
are just they have cheap ownership. They didn't want to go above the second apron. But when MPJ was on the Nuggets, he rebounded better than Cam Johnson. He scored better than Cam Johnson.
This isn't
he
a
shot better than Cam
trade.
Johnson.
It was 1 for 3, Joel. Jonas Valanciunas, Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson. Jonas is the reason that Nikola Jokic has looked fresher this year.
What did Jonas sign? A minimum deal?
Exactly.
They could have got him anyway.
That is the minute differences that having MPJ on your roster and trading for a cheaper guy can land you.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
That's why they're a better team.
Let me ask you something. Swap MPJ with Cam Johnson right now with the Nuggets. Are they a better team?
That's not how the NBA
yes,
works.
They are, right?
This isn't 2K. The contracts have to line up.
Dude, if Jonas got a minimum contract regardless, they could have did it if they wanted to. They just didn't want to go over the second apron. That's it. But teams, the Cavaliers are over the second apron right now.
This move was so good. Peyton Watson didn't even have to become what he has become over the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, they needed him too. Christian Brown's hurt. They definitely need him too.
They had insurance with Bruce Brown in case Peyton Watson didn't pop.
Oh, wow. The Bruce Brown insurance. Give me a break. Come on.
You want to talk about insurance? The guy we keep talking about in Ja, they signed Ty Jerome for insurance of that, and he can't even get on the floor.
You keep talking
this
about
shit matters, Joel. This shit matters.
Cam Johnson, and Bruce Brown. If I'm the Nets, I'd rather have MPJ than all 3 of them.
Ridiculous. Then why are they a better team? You admitted they're a better
because
team.
on the Nets, Claxton and Noah Clowney would play over Jonas Valanciunas. Noah Clowney's been really good for them. And then Bruce Brown, why would they give him any minutes?
We're not talking about Noah Clowney right now.
They're a better team because they have better depth and because Payne Watson is taking a step forward. And because Aaron Gordon he's averaging like 19 too. Aaron Gordon has also taken an uptick in his production. They
All-star
have they
AG.
have all gotten
All-star
much. They have
AG.
all gotten better. Like you're
Who
not about
said
to
that after the first week? All-star AG.
listen. He's playing amazing, but you're not going to convince me that Michael Porter Jr. is not a remarkably better player than Cam Johnson. You're not. It's different. There's a difference.
Slightly better. All right, let's move in to the Detroit Pistons. A plus. The winning streak. Not much needs to be said there.
It's an A plus, and I'm looking forward to Jaden Ivey getting really mixed in with this group and building chemistry with them. I think he can be the missing piece for them, making a deep playoff run and maybe making an NBA Finals. They talk about Lauri Markkanen. They talk about bringing another star in the building. I think you have to remain patient and see what Jaden Ivey can do because I've seen him in Purdue. I saw him before he got hurt last year. He played really well. You got to give him a shot. And that's what the Pistons are about. I feel like they are patient. They rely on the young players to develop, and they have Jalen Duren, Kate Cunningham, etc. Sir Thompson, Jaden Ivey, give him that same opportunity. I think he can make them look right.
Golden State Warriors still by the Denver Nuggets conversation.
I don't know why. The Warriors need someone like Michael Porter Jr., baby.
No, they don't. They need Anthony Davis, like we discussed last week. B minus for them. I wanted to go with C range, but their schedule has been really, really tough. Every time I turn them on, they're playing at somebody who is very, very good.
I'm going with the same thing. They're old, and the schedule has done them no favors. But it's hard for me to feel real sympathy for that team because people come out and say, man, this is a great team. It's better than we think. It's just their schedule, man. It stinks, and this is an old team.
Man, they're better with Draymond Green than Anthony Davis.
They are.
They're not.
Draymond actually plays a game. He actually plays. He's actually on the court.
Ceiling's much higher with AD.
But the Warriors in the playoffs, newsflash, you're playing every other day. There is no break. There is game, rest, game. That's how it is. So in the playoffs, this is how their schedule's going to look. It's getting them prepared for that moment, and they clearly are unequipped. So, I mean, enough with the sympathy excuses. Enough.
Now, this is a team who is old, who doesn't give a shit about October and November basketball. I think I'm really not going to start judging this team until January, February, and March. Their schedule has been terrible. They're older. They know these games don't matter. They don't care about these games. They can make it up later in the season. I'm not ready to judge this team, but what I am ready to say, and that's pretty easy to agree upon, is that this team would be better with Anthony Davis than Draymond Green. It just comes down to one simple fact. If Stephen Curry would sign off on this, that is what they should do.
They're not winning a championship with AD.
They're not going to be 500 with AD. They're going to be better than that.
I don't know. Or what are you living in a fantasy world where he's actually playing on the court or not?
He's had a calf strain and he's missed 14 games this year. Can we calm down? Or 16 games this year.
How many games have the Mavericks played this year? Like 20?
What has Draymond Green done for Golden State? What is it converted to this year?
He's the best defender on the team.
And Anthony Davis wouldn't be?
So you're telling me you'd rather have Anthony Davis missing 16 games than Draymond Green being healthy for all of them?
Would their record be that much different, Joel? Seriously.
Yeah, they'd be way below 500 with AD on the roster right now. Yes. Taking into account the injuries, yeah.
I'm not talking about making the trade now. I'm talking about in February. What if he puts together 20 games? What if he does that?
Man, I'm good off Anthony Davis, man.
All right, fine. Houston Rockets, A for them. You had brought up Reed Shepherd last week. He's been phenomenal. I'm sold on them. Even I think they won. Kevin Durant didn't play in that Phoenix game on Monday, did they? Did he?
No.
Yeah, and they still were able to blow out a winning team in Phoenix. So I think that as a sign without Fred VanVleet and without Kevin Durant is huge for them. And they still have pieces that have not played yet.
A+, Şengün broke out. Amen's breaking out. Reed Shepherd's breaking out. Tari Eason shooting 50% from three. All of their young players are taking a step forward, and they added KD into there. So this is an A+.
Yeah, and we talked about a potential Tari Eason trade in our episode last week, one trade for every NBA team if the trade deadline were today. But it would take a phenomenal offer for me to move off Tari Eason with how good he has been this season.
Yeah. Enough said. He's really good. He's talented.
Yeah.
And they got to keep the core together.
All right, Indiana Pacers, F. We talked about this all summer, Joel. This team was not losing two starters. It was losing two. Tyrese Halliburton obviously out for the year. Miles Turner. I mean, that gaping hole on their roster is really shown its ugly head. And like I predicted, a center that played for spot minutes for a mediocre Memphis team last year was not going to replace what Miles Turner could do for this Indiana Pacers team.
They have lost partly because they have not been healthy at the same time all year. Pascal Siakam has been the one player that's been on the court for them, but Benedict Mathurin missed most of the early part of the season. So did Andrew Nemhard. I just really don't know who's going to play on a night-to-night basis. And that's why they've lost. But I was under the expectation that they were going to be healthy and they were all going to play, and they haven't done so. If they did, they'd be much better. But teams that don't have anything to play for, I think the organizations need to be smart about how they maneuver those seasons. And they're maneuvering it well. I think that they should try to play for a top pick and add talent. And when Halliburton comes back, there's a chance that this team could really skyrocket again.
Let's move to the two LA teams. Clippers, it's an F. Lakers, it's an A. I've been encouraged by the return of LeBron James. I don't know how high their ceiling is in a conference with Denver, Houston, and Oklahoma City, but I do know that they have solidified their spot in the top 4 of the Western Conference, in my opinion.
Clippers are an F. Actually, I'm going to give them a D, just because James Harden is playing at a remarkable level. He's playing like an all-NBA player, and he's just proven to everybody how much of a legend he is. He's just so damn good. He's so historic.
Shut up. It's just converted to winning at all. He has been great, though.
Look at the team. Kawhi has not played. He played yesterday, but
you don't remember the
hasn't played the
expectations you put on this team. Their over-under was well over 50, and you chose the over.
Yes, because I thought they were going to be healthy. They haven't been healthy. Okay. And Bradley Beal is now out for the season. I mean, my God, the disrespect. You use no context. But the Lakers, I'm going to give them an A. They're at the top of the West. Luka's playing at an MVP level. Austin Reeves is playing like an all-star. LeBron James just came back. They didn't have dominating and still were able to beat the LA Clippers. And you know that he makes a big difference. He makes a big impact on the game, averaging more over 15 points per game, and he's averaging a double-double. So I like the Lakers a lot. Still think that there's kind of a limit to what they can be because of the defense, but encouraging signs.
Who would have thought DeAndre Ayton would average less points when LeBron James came? Who would have thunk it?
How many games does he play with LeBron?
It's about to creep below 15.
1?
That's our over-under. Next team on the list, Memphis Grizzlies. We don't need to spend much time here.
Yeah, it's an F. Actually, I'll give it a D. Cedric Coward tax.
It's a C-. Cedric Coward and Zach Edey have been rare bright spots for this team. We don't need to rehash all the jaw stuff. They're not a contender. They're not even a play-in contender. They have a lot of soul searching to do this season. Not much else to say there.
It's unfortunate, man. It's really...
No, why are you smiling if it's unfortunate? Miami Heat's an A. Look, I was doing research, and Eric Spoelstra has never won a Coach of the Year. I don't know how that's not possible. This feels like the year he needs to win it.
Brand new offense. Jaime Jaquez is a 6 Man of the Year candidate. Powell is playing like an all-star. Bam has played better. They have a lot of depth. I like what Miami's doing. I think this is an A. The season couldn't be going better for them right now.
For sure. The Bucks, it feels like a tale of two stories. With Giannis, it was extremely encouraging. Hey, maybe this team can win a series maybe in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, since he's been out, I think they've lost 5 of 6 or 6 of 7, whatever it is. So it's been really tough sledding for Milwaukee and a tale of two cities for them.
I'm going to go with a C. I could be talking to a B. I just think that Ryan Rollins developing changes their outlook drastically. Ryan Rollins went from 6 points to 18 points per game, and he's a great defensive player. He's the perfect complement to Giannis. So, it's a big reason why I have optimism for them, but I think this is around the CB.
Yeah, and Ryan Rollins is a guy that if I was a Houston's front office, even before Reed Shepherd blossomed, and I don't even think this move is necessary, but if Reed Shepherd had not came through like he did in replacement for Fred VanVleet, I would have called about Ryan Rollins, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. I didn't give a grade, but I agree with you. It's a C. Timberwolves, I put a B-. Anthony Edwards seems a lot like Jalen Brunson last year, where it's just get the ball to him and everybody move out of the way. They need a point guard desperately. And I don't want John Morant to be traded. That just feels like the move.
The Knicks?
Excuse me, the Timberwolves.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said the Knicks.
No, no, no.
No,
I
no.
said the Timberwolves. It feels like Anthony Edwards feels like Jalen Brunson last year, where it's just get Anthony Edwards the ball, everybody get it.
Okay, I
There's
see.
no
I see.
point guard play there whatsoever, and I don't want Ja to move, but if he does, that feels like the perfect spot.
Okay, I see. The Timberwolves are interesting because they just need a guard. It doesn't even need to be a point guard specifically, just somebody that can defend and play make. I'll let Keon Ellis there a lot.
Mm.
But yeah, like easily, they need to find a guard because I think Rob Dillingham, he looks awful. He has lost his confidence. And then Mike Conley's just really old. But I think Minnesota, like, they're going to be a disappointing team if they don't fix that guard spot.
Jared McCain and then overcrowded Philadelphia backcourt. Would you like that move from Minnesota?
It wouldn't be bad. I'd be open to it.
All right. Pelicans. Zion's been hurt. None of it's worked out. They don't have their own pick. Simple as that.
I'm going to go with a D just because of Derek Queen. He has given them optimism too. And I think that all this talk about the trade the Pelicans made during the draft, it was bad. Like objectively, right? But if Derek Queen ends up becoming a star, you cannot say the trade was bad. You can't. Even if it was bad process. Part of their process was evaluating Derek Queen and thinking he could be a star.
So let me get this straight. Here's what you're saying. Pelicans get the number 1 overall pick. It's AJ DeBansta. You would take Derek Queen.
It depends. I mean, I think that AJ DeBansta is a better prospect, of course.
I think so too.
But here's the thing, is like, why do we automatically run to the assumption that they're going to get the first pick? Because
they're the worst team in the NBA.
Okay, but here's the thing. The NBA lottery has shown us every year that the worst team doesn't get the first pick. So what happens if they drop to the 5th pick? Okay. Then what?
What happens if the Wizards, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Utah Jazz are worse than then? Then what? They got the 4th odds.
But I'm asking you, if they get the 5th pick, was it a good trade?
Depends who the 5th pick is. This is a deep draft.
It's Caleb Wilson.
Okay. We'll see. Time will tell. But objectively, it was a horrific trade that has equated to somebody who looks like Larry Johnson with sleeves. He has been great, but is he worth building around? I don't know that after 15
I just don't
games.
think that you can say they won the trade without knowing what player that the Hawks ended up drafting.
I think it's fair to say that they lost the trade. They could have drafted someone equivalent to Derek Queen with their pick this year. That is what I will say.
Who?
We will see. We will see. We don't know where it is yet.
Derek Queen is
trading
awesome.
Your own pick in a year that you're having to tank, not by choice, but because your ass is not a good move. It's not. There's no conversation. It's not a good move, Joel.
They came away from that draft with Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. Those are 2 players worth building around.
Are they?
Yes. They will
and
be.
You're ready to say this after 15 to 20 games of Fears and Derek Queen. I'm not arguing that they're not going to be players. I think they're both going to have long careers. Building around is different.
Well, Fears should be a college freshman right now. I think he's going to be a star. I think he's going to be an all-star one day. I think Derek Queen is the one that I had concerns about because of the defense. But if he turns out to be a star, like, listen, I haven't seen enough to say he's going to be a star, but I have seen enough to not rule out the possibility. Yeah. So I think that it depends. Like the Hawks traded back and they drafted Asa Newell with their pick. And what the hell is he right now? He's not even playing. Maybe he turns into something good. I don't know. But if in the next draft, if they don't land one of the top 3 prospects, and let's say they get the 5th, 6th pick, then I'd rather be the Pelicans in that situation.
We'll agree to disagree on that. New York Knicks.
I think this is a C. It's a C because they haven't looked good against the top competition. And they have injuries. That's really why. You know, I just think that this year, a lot of expectations coming into the season, but in Knicks fashion, there's just something about them that feels a little bit off.
Here I am trying to spin another John Morant bullshit into something good for my team. That's the kind of fan I am. And here you are constantly dogging your team whenever you're top 5, top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. Look, it hasn't
I'm realistic.
No.
Yes.
No. New York fans have the best run they have had in over a quarter century, fire their coach. And now Mike Brown has came in and done a pretty decent job thus far. And, you know, he gets a C from his own fans. I think it's been a B. Look, it hasn't been perfect. I'm not going to argue with that. But as far as the transition into the Mike Brown era, it looks at least like a lateral move from Tom Thibodeau instead of going backwards. C would mean they were going backwards. B, I think it's at least lateral, and it could be a higher ceiling team in the playoffs than they were with Tom Thibodeau.
They haven't beaten any good teams this year.
We'll see as the schedule goes on. They didn't beat any good teams through March of last year. That didn't happen. And in the playoffs, they did.
And they have injuries right now. I just think that...
Yeah, exactly. And they're still winning.
The Knicks need to go on a stretch where they look dominant.
That's fair.
Can you right now say with confidence that, yeah, they're winning the East?
You could have came to me on March 30th of last regular season, and I said they would not have won a playoff series.
Okay.
They didn't beat anybody good last year. They didn't beat anybody good last year.
Okay, but that's the thing is like they're supposed to be a step taken forward, and they feel like in the same place.
Like you said, they have been injured. He has still went 7-3 in his last 10. They have not beat anybody of great, that has a great record, but I think it will come, and it's just going to take time for one, them to get healthy, and two, to get used to Mike Brown's system.
Okay, I can hear that.
Oklahoma City Thunder, I think we both say A+ there.
Yeah, A+.
What's the win number on them?
70.
70 on the dot? All right.
I think they could break the record. I said that before the season. I think they can win 75 games.
I'm pretty sure I asked you a couple weeks ago, and you're like, nah, not that much. I'm going to stick with 70.
Man, it could break the record.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm glad we're there. Orlando Magic.
C+. They're figuring it out as of recently. They finally realized, well, they didn't realize, but their best player is not playing now, and their real best player is playing amazing, and Desmond Bane looks much better with him as well.
This is exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Number one, I gave them a C+ as well. They are figuring it out. They had a slow start, but now they seem to be, meshing well with Desmond Bane there. The Paolo Banchero thing is something we need to talk about. I argued with you on this for 6 months, and then you converted me right before this season. And now, I'm all the way there. I don't know what the answer to this question is, but I think the answer is similar to what it is with Trae Young in Atlanta. Trae Young needs to change about 15% of his game for them to go over the hump in Atlanta. Paolo Banchero needs to make that similar change for Orlando to go over the hump with the Magic. And if that change happens, great results for the team, great results for the franchise. If it doesn't, I don't know where they go from here.
My take on the Magic before the season is that I think after this year, they're going to have to make a decision on one of them. They're going to have to trade one of them. Mm-hmm. And the answer for me is clear on who they should trade.
So you would do it this offseason?
It depends. You have to see in the playoffs how they play together. Paolo has risen in the playoffs, so if he averages 30 in a playoff series, you can't just be like, I'll move on from this guy, right? Yeah. But I think it just depends on how their season ends. I do think that the talent is there for them to make the conference finals, but at the same time, the contracts of Suggs, Franz, Paolo, and Bane combined are going to put them over the second apron.
Yeah.
So one guy is going to have to be the odd man out of the four. And who can you get the most assets for? The idea of Paolo, I think you can. So I think, but right now they're playing really well. So I don't even want to jump to that. I think that right now they're playing really well and they're figuring it out. And Anthony Black looks awesome too.
He does. And you called that as well. It's definitely noteworthy what they have done without Paolo. We'll just leave it right there. 76ers, I say a B-. I'm glad they have some direction without Joel Embiid, without Paul George. I think that's been huge for them. Hasn't converted to the same winning that they started the season with, but with that, it's still in the B range. I'm super encouraged by what I've seen from everyone.
I'm going with the B. They found their backcourt of the future. Maxi's playing at one of the highest levels in the league, but it can't be much higher just because you can't rely on their quote-unquote best players to stay healthy. Joel Embiid is not really played much, so that's why.
Phoenix Suns, I put a B+ for them. I did not expect them to have the record that they have. I'll back it down to a B. I was looking at the box score from Monday night from Suns and Rockets. I watched quite a bit of that game. Dylan Brooks had an incredible second quarter. Glad I didn't receive a text from you. But then I looked at how many shots he took at the end of the game. He took 22 shots against the Houston Rockets. Devin Booker took 13. That's not going to lead to consistency in winning. You're on mute. You can unmute yourself before you spew lies about Dylan Brooks.
It's not Dylan Brooks' fault that Devin Booker's playing 10.
It's Dylan Brooks' fault that he's taking 22 shots in a 20.
Who else is going to shoot?
Devin Booker.
He doesn't want to. He's timid.
Led his team to an NBA Finals in the last 5 years.
Man, I don't want to hear that. Ultimately, Dylan Brooks He's been fine for them. You're picking these shots when he's playing awesome. Listen,
It's
man,
objectively ridiculous. He's taking 10 more shots than Devin Booker a game. That
looking
is ridiculous.
at
Correct.
the expectations of the Suns coming into the year, they get an A plus plus. They are competitive every night.
They are for
And
sure. He's changed the
we
culture.
came into this season saying, what the hell are they going to be? They might be the worst team in basketball. And they're not. Because you want to know why? Winning follows Dylan Brooks.
Does
Everywhere he
it? He's won
goes.
one playoff series his entire career.
I'm just talking about wins in general, not just playoffs. I'm not
Uh,
specifically playoffs. I'm talking about winning in general. Winning follows him. He's a winner.
he's the team he was on got significantly better without him. We can move on and
Because
talk
they added
about
Kevin Durant. Oh, wow.
they have an 11-7 record. This will not last. Nobody in NBA media and NBA coaching and NBA players believe that this is going to be a top 6 team in the Western Conference. It's been cute. He has changed the culture. He has made them compete every night. And there is one thing he does every single night. He cares about every game. Doesn't matter if it's October or November. He cares night in, night out. And that has flipped the culture in this team and made them a lot more watchable than they were last season. I agree with you on that. But him taking 22 shots a game is objectively ridiculous. And I don't understand why you don't agree with that. Portland Trailblazers, I put a C. They have an amazing wins early in their season, but it just this month they have really, really struggled.
I'm going with the B. Denny Obvious breakout is a big reason why. I think that they struggled in large part due to Drew Holiday's like just inconsistent availability. They really need him, and I think he completed their team on both sides as a playmaker and as a defender. I'm looking forward to when Scoot Henderson comes back. Maybe he can bring some juice to this team as well. But yeah, I think this is a B.
Got you. We'll run through 3 of them real quick. Kings is an F for me, clearly. Wizards an F. Jazz, I put a C because Lowry Markkanen's trade value is higher than ever. He's averaging, north of 30 points a game. We talked about that last week, how that could be huge for the future of this franchise, whether they keep him or trade him. But anything stand out with those 3, Kings, Jazz, Wizards?
Kings are an F. Wizards are a C because Sar and George look really good. And then Jazz are a C because Laurie's trade value is skyrocketing. And Keontae George also is looking like a real player, too.
For sure. Spurs, I put a B plus. Amazing start. Wemby was on a historic tear as well. Still doesn't change how I feel about their championship future within the next 5 years. We've beaten that dead horse. You know how I feel about that. But B plus for them. Toronto Raptors is the last team. It's an A. They've overachieved on every level, and this BI trade has paid off so far.
I think with the Spurs, it's a B. It would be an A plus if Wemby, Castle, and Harper were all healthy, but they're not. Fox has had to carry the load, and because he's an all-star, he's able to do that, and they're able to still win basketball games because he's an all-star. That's why. He's Fox, baby. Swiper. Fox. And then the Toronto Raptors an A plus. Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are one of the best duos in the Eastern Conference.
Say that again.
Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes are one of the best duos, tandems in the East.
So far they are, and I cannot lie with you, but who would have thought that we would be coming to those conclusions after just 1 month? That is why we graded every NBA team after 1 month. Joel, really appreciate you taking time today, and happy Thanksgiving to you, bro.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching. Thank you for having me.